Welcome back to live coverage of the WCS America round of 16. We're in Group A right now, having had our opening 2 matches. Todd's back fresh from the commentary booth. Interesting first 2 openings. I guess we could probably say the Oz-Hart game was a little bit more predictable. I didn't get a chance to speak to you about the first match, though. puCK was fantastic against Jan.
Yeah, he was. The first game didn't go his way, but after that, he really stayed in it. He stayed focused. He knew that he could do a lot better than that, and he did a lot better than that. Especially that last game, his crisis management was brilliant, in my opinion. It's very, very hard of a situation to make the best out of, and he really did that well, in my opinion.
What was the second match, the Mass Stalkers? Is that something you've done in the past?
Yeah.
It seemed a bit, I mean, he even admitted that it was a bit sort of like, ooh, don't really know what else to do. I'm just going to build Mass Stalkers and hope that works.
Yeah. Sometimes it just makes sense. Like, you don't really know why, and I guess the why would be because if you go into Colossus, then your opponent gets Vipers, and then you have to get Templars, and then you have such a little army to fight because you've invested all this money into high-tier units, and then you mess up one time, you don't feed back on time, you just lose the game right there and there after some abducts. So going for this many Stalkers, it's risky, but as long as you have good force fields and Guardian Shields, against any amount of Roach Hydra, you should be able to do well. And in that case, I don't think Hyun does very, very well in the situation where he has to bait force fields and not get most of his army force fielded poorly, so he just lost from there. Okay,
it's still early in North and South America and Central America for that matter. And if you have missed the opening 2 games, don't feel too bad about yourselves. Just check out the VODs, but we'll fill you in on the bracket right now and show you who's come through. Our 2 players that have advanced through to the upper bracket final are as follows: puCK versus Oz. Yes, that's right. Don't adjust your TV sets over there in America. Your American hero is through to the winners bracket final. He's 1 game away, Todd, from a place in the round of 8, which would be the first time that's happened for him. I mean, it's the first time he's ever reached the round of 16 as it is, but now he's on the verge of the round of 8.
I think puCK has always been one of the best American players, and now he's really showing it here. We've actually had puCK play very well in round of 32, beating Hero and making it to the round of 16 very convincingly. So surely here, puCK is going to have his chances as well. And also, he hasn't been streaming much compared to what he used to. He used to stream all the time. So I'm sure he's been practicing very hard for this. Maybe he's got some new stuff in store. If his PvP is as good as his PvZ, Oz is going to have a tough time dealing with him.
Well, let's talk about that before we go over to our commentary team. Players are almost ready for the map veto, I'm just seeing now. puCK's PvP right now in Heart of the Swarm is 48.2%. It's his worst matchup by a long way. Oz, on the other hand, 55.68%. His best matchup, not by much, but it's definitely his best matchup. You know, purely on that basis alone, you'd be thinking, oh, it's curtains for puCK. But he just played so well in that first match that you can't really count him out, can you?
I think these ratios don't mean that much, especially recently. We saw players like at Katowice and all that having ratios like 70-80%. So in comparison, like 55 and 48, it's like, yeah, okay, I guess you're not that great at the matchup, even in this case if it's Oz's best. So I don't think
I'm going to throw another stat at you. All right?
You love doing that. Huh?
puCK's PvP is lower than yours.
My PvP is pretty sick. I beat MC at Home Story Cup. Are you kidding me? What is wrong with you? Stop taking jabs at me.
I knew it would get a rise out of him at some point. Todd, thank you very much. Oz versus puCK is moments away. Before we actually get over to him, what's your prediction? Who do you think? Has Oz got this?
I think Oz is the favorite, but I'm just because it's WCS America and we have an American here playing well, I'm going to go with puCK 2-1.
Okay, I may have just heard a faint shout from 5,000 miles away. Keep cheering. puCK versus Oz is your upper bracket final, and it's going to be brought to you by our wonderful commentary team. Guys, take it away.
Thank you very much, Todd and Paul, for that nice pre-game analysis of our upcoming PvP. Of course, WCS America round of 16 winner bracket. After this series, we'll know our very first player that we are going to see next week in WCS America round of 8, which will be played at the same time as Europe. James, you've been doing quite some research on WCS America. What are your thoughts? Well, you don't have to giggle. I saw the notes, 22 pages at least.
Oh, thanks, man. I watched a lot of the games from round of 32, obviously. Both of these players ended up playing a PvP series, which they unfortunately lost in their second series. And I feel that both of them got a bit unfortunate in those PvPs. puCK kind of killed himself off if we go back to Altazim's Stronghold, for example. And you had some kind of very, very strong opinions about that game as well.
Yeah, back in the days, I feel that puCK was always a big fan of going double robo, and double robo can still work. But this in this day and age of PvP, players have shown that if we get to that stage in the game, you have to keep scouting non-stop, because it's so easy to transition into Tempest. And the moment that one player has 3 Tempests and you have none, then it's already going to be tough. If there are 5 Tempests and you have none, you're just not going to win the fight anymore. And puCK was a little hesitant going into Tempest, and that definitely backfired, and that basically put him in an unwinnable position in the PvP series that he played.
Yonsu gets removed first by puCK there. I feel that puCK probably doesn't want to go up against like Oz's Blink play. Oz's Blink play is very, very strong on a map like that. He got a little bit unlucky during the round of 32 against Alicia for that, but that's certainly one thing that puCK could be considering.
Yeah, definitely. Youngster is just one of those standard 1-gate Twilight maps with 2 extra gates and a robo. Of course, you can do other stuff, but I think that's the strongest playstyle. After that, we saw Heavy Rain being vetoed. That's definitely a map where oracles are very popular. We saw Altazim and Daedalus being vetoed as well. I think Daedalus is a map that's not been truly figured out yet, even though Blink is pretty damn good on it. And Altazim, well, that's definitely a Stargate map, or maybe a Quake DT map. So we have Polar Knight left. Actually, I thought Polar Knight was vetoed. What did I see then? There was Heavy Rain got vetoed.
Heavy Rain, yeah.
Yes.
Heavy Rain. And then Frost and Habitation Station to round things up here for this PvP. It's funny how Polar Knight actually works out in PvP here. In WCS Europe, we had like a 92% chance of it actually appearing in a PvP series. People really liked Polar Knight, so kind of strange how that worked out.
A little bit of a neutral map, I feel, where you can play multiple ways. I think it's very risky to go for a 1-gate expanse on that map. You don't see it that often. It's possible if you have an excellent read on what your opponent wants to do, but it's a map where just standard 3-gate pressure is popular, 1-gate Twilight is popular, and above all, Oracle openings are also very popular on that map. And now you'll see the open Dark Templar, so everything I mentioned.
Of course, man. That's what they do. That's what they do. Here we have puCK. I actually really enjoyed that game he had with the roaches, and I decided to dub it roaches per minute, because that's exactly what happened, man. He killed a lot of damn roaches in that game.
18 times 9? Yes, he killed a ridiculous, like 150 roaches or something like
160,
that?
yeah.
160 roaches. I've never seen that many roaches die in an 18-minute game.
It was crazy.
It brought a lot of joy to my heart. My heart is scarlet. With Proto Scarlet.
It certainly is, man.
Look at Oz, he looks so cool.
He does. He does look pretty cool. We even have cool music going on in the background.
And I felt that Oz was rocking out to it. It's like he has the same music as us. Close the stream, Oz. The cameras are on you.
All right, so Polar Knight, our first map. And then if we obviously need them afterwards, well, we guaranteed have Frost and then Habitation Station. Frost and Habitation Station are 2 maps that these, puCK especially was playing on when it came to that previous PvP. But obviously they have a lot of experience, just in general, on these maps. So in terms of how you feel both of these guys' PvP is, do you favor anyone going into this match?
I definitely favor Oz. I must say I like puCK a lot, and I think he's an absolutely fantastic player, but he's also been a little vocal about his PvP. Then again, most foreigners are. They always say that they're not that strong, well, I feel some of them are actually pretty strong. I actually played against puCK quite a few times on the North American ladder, and he was joking earlier this morning. It's not to boost my own ego, but he's like, freaking Roddy, I just can't beat you in PvP. That's definitely exaggerated. This is the last 2 times. I feel that things can definitely get into his mind, and that's what I noticed when I played against him as well. Then he tries to blind counter a little too hard, but sometimes when you try to do that too hard, then you're actually blind countering yourself, because the opponent is of course good. They will scout, they will pick up on that. So, you know, he has to go in with, I think, an empty mind and just be like, all right, I'm just going to play this like any other PvP. I'm not going to try to outsmart Oz, because that's something that I think a lot of people have tried to do in the past with Oz. It just doesn't work. He's going to have to rely on his own strengths and just try to play a really solid PvP. And I would say don't overthink too much, because I think that's where it gets really dangerous for him.
Yeah, I would have to agree. Oz is a guy in PvP especially that's absolutely wild, or can be wild. So you have to be careful against him. He did proclaim for a long time, I've already mentioned this in the previous series, that he was like, nobody can defeat my PvP. That was a long time ago, Back
then, the Fnatic Oz.
Yeah.
And then he lost like 7 PvPs in a row. It's like, I don't know, Oz.
Yeah, it didn't go so well.
Shouldn't have jinxed yourself.
All right, well, we're going to be getting into game number 1 now. Polar Knight, our map between puCK and Oz. One of these will move on to the round of 8 and boost a lot of prize money, a obviously that chance to go on further as we have spawning down, up even to the north position as our red Protoss representing, wait a minute, who's the barcode? Okay, representing IVD Gaming, it is puCK.
Saved by the bell, James. Saved by the bell.
That was a panic, a sheer panic. And down to the south as our blue Protoss. Currently teamless, it's Oz.
Oz. Or Lil Oz.
I think you called him Oz squared before. At one point.
All right, so let's see what we are going to see here on Polar Night. A map where players in general like to be aggressive on. If this was MC, I would definitely not be surprised at all to see some 3 gateway straight up aggression. I still think that Oz is going to bring the action to puCK. Like, he doesn't want to just sit back and like, oh, let's see how my build plays out. I think he's going to be aggressive off the get-go, take some map control, above all, dictate the pace of the game, and just take it from there. If you ask me right now, I definitely think a 1-gate Twilight is most likely. Could be a Stargate as well. Anything else, I'd be a little surprised by.
And puCK making sure he's not getting proxied in his main, whilst Oz doesn't really seem to care just yet. Just much opting for the more economical choice. And wow, puCK is actually really scouting out a lot here, making sure he's not having anything hit him.
A lot of Korean Protoss players, they start off a best of 3 with proxy action immediately. We've seen that so many times, and puCK wants to make sure that he won't fall for something like that. Like, his first game today was definitely, you know, a bit of a bummer against Hyun. It's just like, oh, come on. I was like looking forward to at least showcase a good best of 3 and showcase my builds and execute it as well as I possibly can. And then you die to 9 roaches. Like, well, that's a bummer. Now I basically have to win my best of 3 2-0 because this wasn't even a real game.
Yeah.
He still did that though, so that definitely gave him some confidence, but he wants to make sure that he doesn't start 0-1 again before anything truly happens.
And interestingly enough, we have a much later second gas here from puCK compared to what we're seeing from Oz. What do you make of this, Rotterdam?
A lot of it actually comes down to personal preference. Of course, when you have double gas super quick, sometimes it's like, he's trying to get a quick Stargate out, but I don't think that that's necessarily what's going on. Like, the first gas was still early on for puCK. It's a little bit old school, but I like my old school. This seems like a Stargate placement though, yeah, and it is for us. Okay, so it was my second choice. It wasn't the first. I'm very surprised that he drops the Stargate while the probe is still in the base. And puCK doesn't scout it yet. That's so unfortunate. It's right there. It's that pot of gold at the end of the rainbow.
Just up a little bit, puCK.
It's waiting for you. There you go.
Wee.
This is lovely though, man. If I play my PvPs and I scout a Stargate like that, I'm like,
Yum yum. And it's actually in a very, very, well, it's in a very aggressive location to eventually move units over there, but if the game goes on a little bit longer, it's in a vulnerable location as well. It could be attacked from the low ground, etc., with high ground vision, but gotta be careful.
Yes, I don't think that Oz worries about his target in that phase in the game, but I'm definitely a little bit surprised. He's not going to cancel it. Oracle will be prone boost. No, he made an Oracle, then he's like, nah, it was so obvious and you scouted it. I'm just going to open up with Phoenixes. And then I like the Twilight opening, because that Twilight opening should definitely give some momentum to puCK. Above all, puCK wants to use his units to force Oz to keep his Phoenixes on his side of the map. And what I really wonder about right now is, like, how many Phoenixes will Oz make before he drops a Robo?
And he actually, if that Phoenix was able to spot the mothership core, doesn't have enough energy for recall, so he could have killed it. But
yeah, that's risky. That's very ballsy. Wow, I don't really understand that mothership core movement at all.
I guess he was anticipating the Oracle and thinking that it was there, but even then you could make a Phoenix very quickly.
Yeah, and even if it's an Oracle, why would you want your mothership core to be across the map? Yeah. I don't like this.
Okay, well,
I think this is really strange. He's gonna lose that mothership core for absolutely nothing, other than the fact that, hey, there's a Phoenix on the map.
Yeah.
But there's a 50% chance there's a Phoenix on the map, unless it's like one base defensive void race, but this is not Gold League. So.
You've got to survive for 10 seconds, but you're not going to, poor little mothership core. Had times for that. And even flies in and really doesn't get too much. Oh, does it actually? Okay, yeah, it did spot the Robo at least.
Okay, so that's interesting. So we have a 1-gate Stargate into Robo. This makes sense, guys, because you really need Immortals against Blink Stalkers. Otherwise, you're just going to trade very inefficiently. The only units you will ever kill is with a Graviton Beam, and the moment that those Phoenixes are out of energy, you are screwed normally. So it makes sense that he's trying to get Immortals out as soon as possible.
And that's the one thing I like about the Stargate opener in PvP, the fact that you do get so much information with your units almost always hovering around your opponent's base, and then you can react from there. But there's not really a whole lot that you can do about that Nexus. So it's a bit of a tight bind.
Yep, he's going to try to be annoying. At least he knows that he's not under heavy pressure, which is something I personally enjoy when I play Phoenixes. That you don't have to keep your Phoenixes on your side of the map because you're worried about some crazy suicide blink, which is going to work if the Phoenixes are out of position. This Oracle timing is you know, spectacular to say the least. Like, you know, not often do you see 3-4 Phoenixes and then an Oracle. Right now it's not going to do much, but these Phoenixes are going to provide him vision. They're going to wait, and the moment that these Phoenixes lure these Stalkers out of position far enough that this Oracle can fly in, I think that's when Oz is going to go for it, which is actually a really cool move. He didn't remake the Mothership Core, correct? Oh, that's pretty sick. There is no Mothership Core, so this Oracle can actually deal a lot of damage.
And especially now, since he's transferring down to the natural, these Phoenix, if they eventually see the positioning of all of that, it's the perfect time. It's the perfect opportunity. Oh, but the blink forwards to defend against that. Good presence of mind so far by puCK.
A lot of energy on those Phoenixes. They will still get some probe kills. That's kind of inevitable. It doesn't really matter how long they wait. Eventually they will get some. But so far puCK has done an excellent job in not losing probes. But the moment I say that, the Oracle shows up.
Sorry about that, man. But yeah, he's certainly found a few. And we're trying to get them out.
Oh, only 3 kills. That could have been so much worse. Because an Oracle in an exposed mineral line, it's a blink of an eye before you lose 6, 7, 8 workers.
At least, where did he have the Mothership Core as well? He does need to protect that against Phoenix that will only too happily try and track that down and kill it off. But it's going to be difficult against all of those Blink Stalkers.
It's only 3 Phoenixes, so it would take a little while. Like, if it's 5 Phoenixes, then it's super hard to keep the Mothership Core alive. Against 3, he should be fine. Kind of an interesting chain of...
Oh, that actually got like 5 more kills. So that was good. That was good to get those kills. 10 in total. So 35 workers to 31. He's really evened things back up with his Nexus being a little bit later.
Oh, it might be. Oh, puCK. If he would have moved that Observer southwards or southbound, then he would have been able to blink down and kick it off. These Phoenixes, as I said, eventually they will get some probe kills. And now I feel that Oz has done the damage that he was looking for with his Stargate while getting his own expand up on the other side of the map. Made it look easy, not all that easy against the Twilight opening. But maybe that's why Oz was not worried at all about this being scouted. And right now it's 40 probes against 30. That's actually a significant lead. And if you ask me, what can puCK really do on the other side of the map? I don't know, James.
No, it's difficult. And as always, whenever Phoenix jump in, they always seem to tank more Stalker shots than I'm always going to anticipate them doing. They're quite bulky and get out of there with 17 kills so far on those probes. So he's not only evened things up, but he's put himself in a great position back at home.
Yep, he really did. Sometimes it's better to be light armored than be armored.
Yeah. Well, more Immortals now being cranked out here. Are we just going to see the Immortal kind of Archon Zealot style out for us from here?
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm expecting. It will really make a whole lot of sense. Not like a Robobay would be the wrong choice, but it gives you a little more mobility with the Archon Immortal style, and it makes sense against knowing that Blink is already out on the other side. You know, Oz should just basically do the same thing as puCK is doing right now, and then he's going to do it off a better economy. Phoenix is once again getting a few probe kills. 1 Phoenix did fall in the process, but 21 workers. That's more than you could dream of normally when you open up with a Stargate that's scouted.
Exactly. It's really paid off for him. Very, very good control and presence here by Oz. And now, you know, puCK is just kind of stuck. I mean, what is he going to do? He's going for the same composition as his opponent, but every single time he's just that one step behind. So he's got to make up some ground somehow.
Now, what do you do when you're 10 workers behind in the PvP and you have identical tech in this phase in the game, and even in army supply you're down a little bit? I don't really know. This is a very difficult position to play from. puCK is just going to have to Chrono Boost out as many probes as possible, catch up, and then hope that he eventually will be able to get a favorable engagement with a good time warp. You know, maybe get his charge loads on top of the Immortals of Oz, but I think right now puCK doesn't even have charge here.
I mean, with all the Phoenix dead, at least he could have tried to have sneaked out a third a little bit quicker than his opponent, but Oz, he's already gearing up for a third as well. So it's a little bit of a disadvantageous position. I'm not really sure what else he can do.
Maybe eventually a Robobay gets some Colossus out, but we shouldn't forget that Oz already has the Stargate, so it's a lot easier for Oz to get a couple of Tempests out if he has to, and with the superior economy, that's going to be amazing, because the last thing that he's worried about right now is puCK running across the map. So I really think the only thing that puCK can do is just make Immortal Archons and, as I said, hope for a fantastic time warp with a Dream engagement, but he's not even going to have charge, but Oz will already have charge. It seemed like Oz has just almost won this game by dealing a lot of economic damage.
It was a really good start for him, and he's showing his true colors here in this PvP series, but that's not his true colors. Taking a lot of damage on that first Archon.
Those force fields are sick, though.
Yeah, trapping all of these Immortals in. The Stalkers trying to enter the fray and help him out, but those are Immortals, they just died off so quickly.
Yeah, I'm afraid this is curtains already for puCK. Losing his 3 Immortals, he will get a potent overcharge, but he just doesn't really have any units anymore that can deal with this army of Oz. Those Archons, those Immortals are going to push out so much damage and above all represent so much HP that, you know, even if Oz doesn't win the game right here, which he will, he would have been in absolutely fantastic position. GG is called.
A great start for Oz, really, really good. Good harassment, good knowledge of when to push out from then on after gaining that lead. He had the right army. Slight misstep with those Archons, but as long as you're going to land those force fields at the end, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, and I mean, Archons don't die that quickly against Immortals. Like, it would have been more painful if those were Colossus and there were 3 Immortals shooting at them. puCK and a little flustered, and Oz looking happy. He's like, just 1 map win away from securing myself another week over here in Germany with a lot of prize money, a lot of WCS points. Yeah, that's how I want to start the season. You see him nodding. He's like,
I wouldn't mind that as well. I wouldn't mind that, but I am nowhere near as good. So sadly, that's not going to be the case. But it's a huge step up. If you go from this round to the round of 8, that's an extra $2,000. That's an extra 200 points for WCS points that you bag when you go forwards into those next rounds. And then it scales up even more from there into those 3rd and 4th positions, into that 2nd and 1st. So Oz is certainly looking for the big, big money here. And he's started himself off with quite a bang in this round.
Looking solid indeed. Frost is going to be our 2nd map. What will puCK do? I really think, like, looking back at it, it's obviously very easy to say because it's so much easier to talk about StarCraft at the end of the game than it is during, or especially when you're playing it. But I think it would have made a lot more sense for puCK if he wasn't focused on getting a real economy going that quickly. I think the Mothership Core was a silly mistake. That was, I don't understand the thought process behind that. Unless he thought, hey, my opponent is only going to make 1 Oracle and that's it. But I don't really know why you would assume like that, so I didn't really understand that. But I think even when you take that Nexus that quickly, I would have still loved to see him just run across the map, let those Phoenixes pick off the probes. As long as you build a lot of probes, at least you can deny the expand from your opponent with the Blink Stalkers. I think that would have been better. But
well, let's get into game number 2 as we have spawning up to the top left-hand corner, representing IVD Gaming, it is puCK.
Why are you giggling?
Showed me that it was the right name. After I might have made a mistake there. He did. Oh, bless him. And spawning down to the bottom right-hand corner. I know you too well, Funker. Spawning down to the bottom right-hand corner as our blue Protoss, currently teamless, it's Oz.
Frost, of course, a different map, a 4-player map that can already make things a little more tricky in PvP, and it's also easier. You know, if you want to roll the dice, and a 4-player map is often the one to do it at, because it's going to be harder for your opponent to scout. For instance, last map, puCK saw everything right at the get-go. It didn't secure victory for him, or perhaps it even worked against him, because I think most of the decisions that he made backfired. But, you know, on a 4-player map, you can be like, maybe my opponent doesn't scout, or maybe he scouts me very late, so I'm going to go proxy Stargate, or I'll go tank gate. And by the time that he sees it, there's nothing really that he can tell about it, unless he somehow gets the Cybercore as well, or something like that. So it's a little easier on Frost to do something cheeky.
It certainly is. And, well, alternatively, we can just see, you know, bigger macro games. With these spawning positions, there is a certain opportunity for that, but Oz has shown tendencies of Blink play on this map as well, in fact.
Yeah, Blink is solid on most maps, especially because you can take map control with it, which is, once again, why I'm surprised that puCK played it so defensively last game. I think it would have been better for him if he showed some more aggression, but once again, it's a lot easier to talk about the map afterwards than, well, the game is being played. He will scout again, will scout the wrong direction at first, but we'll get Oz at the 2nd try. Cybercore was a little quicker for Oz, but that's not something that we have to look too much into.
Well, strong building placement here as well for Oz. He's made himself a wall, so if anything wants to get right round to the back there to scout any tech out, they would have to effectively... Oh, he's actually going to throw the Stargate right there, never mind.
So this is one of those things that you can do on a map like this, like where you get Stargate before anything else. This Stargate is pretty much as quick as you're possibly going to get it. Stargate before a Mothership Core even. If it would turn into a Stargate versus Stargate game, this is a dream scenario for us, because he will have air superiority and he's never going to lose it. But good news for puCK, he is going to scout it. This Mothership Core might be able to usher the probe out. That would be very unfortunate. If he... is he going to suicide the probe? Yes, he is, but will he see it?
Oh, he goes the wrong way.
No, he doesn't see it.
I mean, anywhere he would have placed it behind that mineral line would have been great, pretty much. There was not really too much room down the left-hand side, so puCK gets unlucky. And then from there, he's adding on a second gateway.
Exactly what we mentioned in the start of the game. Like, this is something that you can't really hide on a map like Polar Knight, but hey, this is a 4-player map. puCK scouts the wrong base first. By the time that he scouts the second base, the Mothership Core was there. You know, puCK could have seen the Mothership Core. He's like, man, I think you dropped tech before anything else because you only have like 52 energy. I think he might have even heard the sound of the Mothership Core popping. That's how close it was. He does drop the Twilight, so this is still a scenario that I normally like as a Protoss player. This is a ballsy opening by us because he just has, you know, he has almost nothing. He hasn't scouted at all. What if this is a 10-gate, 3-gate? How is he ever going to defend? He will have one photon overcharge, but I feel that's it.
I mean, behind this, he's got the Robo being added on, so eventually that can help him out with some kind of defense if something were to come along. But obviously at this point, puCK's still kind of stuck in his base, and he will now spot these Phoenix as they fly on in. And will he feel very contained again? I think he might do.
I think at this moment you can't even be sure whether this is a real Phoenix or not. But now you're like, hey, it is. My Mothership Core took damage. Even though that would be a very quick hallucination scout, but you know, this is not unheard of.
Yeah, you're right. Probe moving down to the bottom left hand here now for puCK even. So it's actually interesting how he's playing this out because it looks as if he wants to be a little bit more aggressive with this probe now moving to the bottom left.
Exactly, and I like that a lot because if you don't have this probe down already, it can be so annoying to get a probe across the map because you have your Stalkers and then your probe gets picked off and then you send the next probe and then that probe gets picked off by the Stalkers, by the Phoenixes, and then in the end you're like, man, I could have started my aggression a minute ago, but I can't get a freaking pylon up on the other side of the map. So it is really smart that he's getting that probe down there already. And I do think this time, despite having that Nexus, that doesn't mean that he has to build probes like a madman. This doesn't mean that he has to defend 2 mineral lines. I would really love to see him be a little aggressive with the Stalkers.
And also all he really has for the defense is an Immortal and a Sentry so far at least. So, but that Immortal count can rise very quickly if he wants to actually put into that. But
not a gateway.
Okay. But it instantly gets seen by the Phoenix. But of course he did see the Nexus as well, I believe, with the Phoenix. Did he?
Yes, he did.
Yeah.
I mean, soon, I still... second Immortal's out right now, it's hard to say. But with that 4th gate, you almost have to feel like he wants to be at least a little bit aggressive, right?
Yeah, there's another pylon even going down.
So I think the Stalkers are going to make their way across the map soon. He has a Photon Overcharge to defend for a while at home. If I was him, I'd keep my probes at 1 mineral line. Like, he can build probes of 2 Nexi if he really wants to. But rally that Nexus to your main, and that's exactly what puCK does. I like it so far.
And this is very shades of the round of 32 when puCK actually went up against Maxed. Game number 3, Maxed was still able to break puCK with Blink Stalkers on his opponent's natural when Immortals were trying to hold on as well. So it's certainly doable here from puCK, but can he? Because Oz is really going to give him no room at all.
I think it's very doable. Phoenixes are still hovering on the other side of the map. puCK definitely wants to at least kill that Nexus. He doesn't have to win the game, but he wants to take out that Nexus because he realized in the last game it was a little too easy. So puCK doing everything that we spoke about during the break and really be able to succeed in what he would love to achieve.
Sentries for space control, but against Blink, it's not really going to matter a whole lot. They can just move back and then...
Maybe 4? Is he going to go with everything?
Whoa, 4
He's
is the
going to
best
go with
bet.
everything.
Wow, this is ambitious. Very ambitious. Killing off pylons and then supply blocking him, but...
I am nervous about this one. Okay, he forced out another Photon Overcharge. That's nice. Wow, whoa, those Stalkers can jump for days.
Whoa, I was scared. I thought they were going to get trapped on the high ground.
Me too, at least like 3 or 4 of them. And when that happens, you're just like, oh. Oh, 3 Phoenix, at least 1 maybe.
Gets one.
Gets one, and the other one takes a lot of damage. Photon Overcharge is gonna run out in natural soon. We have 3 Immortals, but with Force Field, he still has 1 Sentry, right, puCK?
I think so, and it's going to be a 4th Immortal very soon, though, trying to control that space. He's making an Oracle. He's going to send that over the other side of the map, I think, and try and just counter straight up.
Okay, look at the sentries. That's exactly what I was waiting for. I love it, puCK, but it's still going to be hard to pull this one off. It's not easy, but I think he has a very good shot at taking out this Nexus at least.
He realizes he's trying to catch them, and he pins them all back. He's going to actually take down this Nexus. The Immortals can't do a damn thing. A great position here by puCK, but at the same time, he's got to be very careful of the Oracle.
I have a smile on my face right now because this is everything that I thought would be the right thing to do, and he did it, and he executed it very well. Right now he is down 6 workers and or 5 workers, but of course he's up a base, so he will be able to overtake him. And he saw that Oracle. That is so nice. He's also jumping forward. What did he find in the middle of the map? Just a probe, I guess, or something.
Yeah, not a whole lot. So now puCK retreats back on home. And this is an all right position for him, but he's still. I think he kind of has to be a little bit careful. It is 5 Immortals down. If Oz wanted to pressure...
Yeah, puCK needs some other units soon as well. Unless he would rely on only Blinkstalkers in the full-on base trade. Here comes that Oracle. Blinkstalkers are close forward. Blink, here we go.
Bye-bye.
Oracle will fall with only 2 kills, so I think it's safe to say that was not worth the investment. Despite it being a ballsy idea by Oz as well. He's like, okay, so I'm under pressure. Let's make an Oracle.
Yeah, it was a beautiful idea if he'd have been able to hold on a little bit longer at his natural, but because he didn't, because puCK was very, very attentive with how he was pressuring, it was not successful. So now puCK just transitioning on to Robo himself, and wow, there's so many Immortals now. 6 with a 7th on the way for Oz.
I mean, it was cool that he sniped the Nexus, but the fact that he didn't get a single Immortal, that he made so many Stalkers, this is indeed a pretty damn scary army. In a straight-up engagement, needless to say, Oz is just gonna hammer through that army of puCK. And at the same time, on the other side of the map, that Oracle 2 kills, okay, that's not that much. Then the Phoenixes came in, they got like a combined of 8 kills throughout the entire game, so let's say like 3 or 4 now in the end. And that really made sure that Oz is actually still okay. I thought that puCK would be able to overtake him in the worker count. He was only down 4 workers. Normally with 2 base against 1, that means, okay, soon I'm gonna be up like 2 to 4 workers. But because he lost a couple of probes in that process, Oz is still in a reasonable position despite losing that Nexus. But already a very interesting game.
Yeah, very. puCK now just trying to find a little bit of a route around this left-hand side, at least deny the pylons. Maybe even jump in later on, but...
Oz is going just nuts on the Immortals. Sorry to interrupt you, James, but he has 7 Immortals, and the production chef is just showing us more and more Immortals. I want to hear like Call of the Valkyrie when those Immortals march across the map, because this is ridiculous. I have not seen 8 Immortals at the 14-minute mark in a while in PvP.
He's really, really concerned about those Stalkers, man. Really concerned.
If I was puCK, I would tone it down on the stocks from this point on. And now we do see charge and a fleet beacon already. What?
Wow. So Immortal Tempest.
Immortal Carrier, hands down.
Oh wow.
Immortal Carrier charge lot. I want to see it.
That would be sick. I mean, the thing is if puCK saw all these Immortals, he's just like, right, well, I'll just only make charge lots from now on, and then just kind of mince them up completely.
Yeah, that's a bizarre thing. There's no Templar Archives, right, for us. So it's not like he has Archons. He doesn't really have anything that is going to protect his Immortals against a bunch of charge lots. Charge just starting now for puCK. 2 more gates being added as well, so that's going to bring him up to... How many gates are we looking at? 6 gateways for puCK with 3 more on the way.
But now that we saw that Templar Archives in production, it was, you know, off the back of him seeing double Robo from puCK, right? It's the obvious go-to position, but he didn't even have a Robo Bay anyway. That he went in with a hallucinated a Phoenix and saw that there was no Robo Bay. So
I didn't even see the double Robo yet. So then the Tempest or that early fleet beacon makes a lot of sense. And this is something I am worried about. puCK did see the fleet beacon already. If he clicked on it, he definitely scouted it with the hallucinated Phoenix. It is really important that he doesn't wait too long. Oh, what?
Well, he cancelled it because he flew in and saw no Robo Bay, I guess. So it makes a lot of sense.
But the double Robo is still... Oh, okay.
Well,
yeah, he didn't see the Robo Bay. Okay. All right, well, a lot of mind games going on over here.
Yeah.
I still think that like it's nice to have it. Like he doesn't have to start producing Tempest, but I would still say just let it finish, because there's a good chance that if nothing happens in the upcoming 90 seconds, then the Robo Bay will go down for puCK, and then you're gonna have to build the fleet beacon again.
No, you're right. You are so right with that. It's certainly, if you've invested into it, why not just keep it up? I mean, he has the minerals invested into it now, or it would have done.
So it seems like Immortals are the flavor of the month in this game. It's 10 Immortals with the 11th Immortal on the way for us.
Wow.
And 6 Immortals.
I'm not complaining. I like Immortals, man. They're pretty cool.
Immortals against Immortals is also very entertaining, because they either do no damage or they do a lot of damage.
Yeah, they like counter themselves, harden shields, and then all of a sudden you break through that and it's like, oh, bye-bye Immortals, I guess.
They're like really good and really bad against Immortals.
Good job, Immortals. Well done. You're kind of doing your job half the way.
Yo, dog, I see you have a lot of Immortals, so I raise your Immortals with more Immortals.
I'm gonna enjoy these engagements, because nothing's gonna die for a long time, and then eventually everything's just gonna disappear.
All right, so 141 supply against 164. Still, army supply, it's close. Upgrades, +2 is about to finish up for us. If it's a +2 against +1 fight, that could be good. Are there Archons in the mix of the army? Yeah, there are for us. He has 2 of them.
Sneaky pylon down to the third that can technically harass from the high ground.
Just like getting 2 or 3 stalkers, 4 stalkers.
Go
like,
the whole hog. Make a cannon there, man. Just do it.
He shouldn't wipe in stalkers, but he should send 4 stalkers. Okay, puCK has to be really careful. This fight, despite army supply not being that much in favor of Oz, even though it's 20, is much better for Oz because these stalkers are not going to be very good, I'm afraid. puCK, I don't think... Oh, Storm is pretty sick.
Storm actually taking down all those Guardian
The Hardened Shield, and now those stalkers are maybe not that bad anymore, as at least they do like 14 damage. He still has to be very careful. Man, Storm.
This is a sick choice.
Yeah.
This is fantastic because now, well, they're going to come back. They will have some. He's going to warp some of the Zealots in on the high ground and low ground.
puCK.
Oh, wow, another Storm as well to try and chase this away. The Zealots closing the gap. He blinks forwards and catches 1 or 2 of those units.
Wow.
Wow.
This is completely changing right now. It went from like, puCK, I don't know if you should be in the middle of the map, to, oh my god, puCK, you're doing fantastic. He's chasing down his Immortals right now. Immortals running away from Stalkers. Yes, you've seen it all.
What is going on? And he can't even engage in that position, and he's harassing this base. He's going to warp in more Zealots from the high ground
really
here.
Well played.
Wow, and Storms once again to bring down the shields.
That time warp is going to give us some time that he needs also badly to recover. He has a fort base going up as well. I don't think puCK is aware of that. The silliest Zealot fight of all time going on over here. Maybe, how's he going to save this? Something is coming. No, not probes. No, you're not winning that fight, Oz.
It's an all-out brawl, and puCK is winning for a second until the Archon and the extra Zealot should be able to get there.
That one pylon and the decision to go Storm against this overwhelming amount of Archons, Immortals, excuse me, completely changed how this game was going. And when it looked like Oz's army was quite a bit stronger, suddenly puCK's army with those few High Templars looked a lot better.
He's able to keep on his tabs with his opponent's army position in the middle of that map.
So the Immortal count right now is 9 against 8. This is important.
It is, yeah, you're right. And he still has High Templars with him though. And, well, we have a few being added for Oz, but he doesn't have Storm, does he? So, or does he? No, he doesn't. So he can't do the trick that we're seeing from puCK here, which is working out really well for him.
Oz still only with a single Robo as well, so it's unlikely that he's going to go into Colossus soon. He doesn't have a Robo way either. Upgrades are even though puCK starting +3 even before Oz did. Oz stopped upgrading because he was on the ropes. Robo way going down right now for Oz though, but with a single Robo, above all, I don't think it's going to be in time. I don't think he can defend both bases. Hallucinated Colossus in the mix for puCK as well. This looks fun.
A lot of the Zealots trapped behind some of those Immortals on the left-hand side here, so he's going to try and get as much surface area on him. He doesn't have the Storms. He morphed in all those. One Storm left with those, as well as a second one, actually dropping them in the middle of those Archons and Immortals, and he's going to kill everything off.
Wow, those Archons combined with Storm, or complemented, I should say, with the Immortals behind it, will do the job for puCK. GG is called. What a cool game by puCK.
I can't believe that we actually just saw Storm have an actual use in a PvP outside of a lot of Void Rays.
Be a game changer, that's what it was.
Yeah, that was fantastic there by puCK. But it's so unconventional that you would see us just continuing on with those Immortals, and puCK knew exactly what to do.
Yeah, there was actually no better unit to go. I mean, Colossus are always fantastic, even against Immortals, as long as you can keep them out of range. So Colossus wouldn't have been a bad choice, but of course, you know, there was a Stargate out already as well. So he's like, you know what, I'm just gonna make Immortals, and then I'm gonna go, I have double Robo, and I'm gonna complement my double Robo with Storm, because, you know, that's gonna do pretty well against all these Immortals, which are of course big units, so...
Totally crazy.
I'm a little speechless, but I think it was an awesome game. Like, I really like how puCK played it early on. I felt he did everything right that I felt that he didn't do on Polar Knight. But then he still found himself kind of on the ropes, because those target units still did some economic damage. And at the end of the day, Oz's army looked quite a bit stronger. But then suddenly, Storm, man. Suddenly, Storm.
Suddenly, Storm, you're right. I'm curious, actually. I want to really go back and watch that. See if in between any of those engagements, he was able to feed back the Mothership Core as well to deny time warps. I can't recall if he did or not.
I don't think he did. Because like there was a time warp on the right side of the map, which slowed that army down.
There was.
If he was feedback, there's no way he would have had 100 energy by then.
Yeah, I guess he couldn't have reached it as it was being kept zoned out a little bit. But anyway, we're 1-1 apiece now, and we're going to go on to Habitation Station for our next game. And this is down to the wire now. This is crazy, because puCK showed that he's able to stand toe-to-toe with Oz, and especially since you know, Oz really infused his own little style into that with going for those extra Immortals. He does like to do that from time to time, and it didn't work out there in game number 2.
Yeah, it's really cool to see Storm. It's something that like I've tried to mess around with in the past, and there is a time and place for Storm in PvP. It's either like super late game, if you have everything, you might as well get Storm too, because it's not like, you know, 2 High Templars are going to be worse than 2 Zealots, or, you know, what do you rather have? Do you rather have 4 Storms in a maxed out PvP fight, or, you know, maybe 2 other units, or let's say 1 Colossus? Then I think the Storms can make a bigger impact. But in this phase in the game, there was like such a small window of Storm either being fantastic, or it would have been a completely different fight, and then I'm not too sure about it. You know, I also feel that maybe Oz could have still taken the fight. Like, I feel instead of just like standing so clumped up and those Storms hitting like that big over the entire army, what if he just like, okay, Storm, this is quite a shocker, and those Storms are doing a lot of damage, but I'm immediately lining up my army, lining up my Immortals, because in the straight-up fight, his army was still way stronger than the army of puCK. And Storm is like that scary, oh my god, that's a lot of damage at first, but then suddenly it's still a real fight, you know, because there's only a certain amount of Storms. I think that would have been a good chance. Also, he had charge. I'm not even sure if puCK had charge that fight.
In that one.
Exactly. So imagine if he just, you know, gets his Zealots close to the Immortals of puCK. puCK still had like 12 to 14 Stalkers in that army, and he was down 30 army supply. Maybe if he spreads out his army properly and then just takes the fight, despite overcoming that first shock of like, oh my god, those Storms did a lot of damage, I still think he would have done better than like running away, because then he was losing a lot.
Yeah.
And at the same time, that pylon on the left bottom side, or at the, you know, what was
Down
it, like
to the third?
6 o'clock basically.
Yeah.
Fantastic pylon that made it so much harder for us to stabilize and really recollect himself, because instead of just running away from a fight and thinking, what do I need to deal with this? He needs to deal with like freaking 8 Zealots that are harassing him. So that was really well done. I don't think puCK could have done it any better than that.
Yeah, I mean, me and Todd, we've been casting a lot of PvPs over here in Europe, and it's been a treat, but every single one now, even like that one, for example, as well, was just, you know, different and diverse. And the Storms, the addition of Storms just...
You make it sound like a bad thing. It's a beautiful thing, James.
No, I love it. I'm not saying it's a bad thing at all. I'm really enjoying PvP as of late, and even my PvP got a lot better after casting a lot of it as well, but I am happy with that. And it became a lot more of an enjoyable matchup for me. And now we just see puCK completely understand the intricacies of how to deal with a style that is very unconventional, which was really awesome to watch.
Yeah, it's especially cool because I didn't even really pick up on it during the game, and I also didn't feel like, you know, is this going to have the impact that it did? I still wonder exactly what I just said, like what would have happened if Oz would have just like immediately spread out his army and then just still take that fight, because at the end of the day, his army was way stronger. Like, he had more Immortals, he had I think the same amount, if not more Archons, and he had a bunch of charge lots, and he's fighting against an army that was 30 army supplies smaller and 14 Blinkstalkers. I mean, I know Storm is good, but is it that good? I don't know. Either way, it was a really fun game.
Alrighty, let's get into game number 3 now. 1-1 between these guys, as we have spawning up to the top left-hand corner, tying it up, representing IVD Gaming, it is puCK. And up to the top right, we have our blue Protoss. Currently teamless, but looking to move on to the round of 8. It is Oz.
And what a story we have already unfolding over here in Group A, WCS America round of 16, our very first day of broadcasting. The next 7 days we are going to bring you guys, well, 8 days even, or is it 8?
6 in total, I think, because we have these 2 days, then we have 4 days of
yeah, but I mean,
America
like,
and EU
we have
combined.
like a 2-day break, so it's like
3-day break.
Okay, so wait, what day is today? I'm lost.
It's Saturday today,
Okay.
and then we go through Sunday next week. So it's 8 days in total. You were right from the beginning, and I confused the matter.
All right, so we're gonna bring you guys an insane amount of StarCraft, and this is the very first day, and we have a cool storyline unfolding. Will puCK, perhaps against all odds, be the first, I think, even North American ever to make it into the round of 8? Because Season 1, 2013, WCS America had Moonglade and Snoot, but of course neither of them is a true North American. I don't think Season 2 had a North American. Oh, Scarlet, of course. Sorry, guys. Scarlet made the round.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Well, still, it would still be, he would be the first Protoss.
It's still quite a feat. It is a big
American.
American, there you go.
Yeah. Scarlet's Canadian.
Dude, I mean, puCK's looking good. He certainly could do that. He really could. So we could see him in the round of 8.
One map win away from winning Group A and securing that spot in WCS America round of 8. Would be absolutely fantastic for puCK.
Yeah, it would be a big step up. He's really come into his own as of late, really flourishing as a player.
He came a long way, man. Like, he's been around for a while, and he had his ups, like, especially in the later stages of Wings of Liberty. puCK got known to be this crazy Colossus dropper, but a lot of the pros still didn't take him that serious. Started streaming a lot, had a few good wins here and there, but it was still like, you know, it's just puCK and his Colossus drop. Then in the middle of 2013, he started to be way more competitive, started to take some serious series of big names, but didn't have that, you know, that legendary tournament run just yet. But this is starting to get pretty damn close. It would be fantastic for puCK.
And I think out of most of the players that you see play the game, you know, a lot of people play it and, you know, they don't enjoy it as much as others. But puCK is one of those guys that he seems to just really enjoy it. I mean, like, whenever you see him play, when he's streaming and stuff like that, he really puts himself in the games. And you can tell it's his style. I mean, even just gas timings, for example, in this matchup, he doesn't go with the conventional double gas at the same time that most people are doing. He does his own gas timings, one after another. So, yeah, let's get into this.
Yeah, let's keep a close eye on the game. We've been talking a lot. We're, of course, very curious to see who's going to take this. Chronobus being spent on that Cybercore with an interesting final placement for puCK on the right bottom side of the map. I think that Oz might drop 2 more gateways and goes for some straight 3-gateway aggression. puCK, on the other hand, is doing just that. So what is Oz going to do? If it is tech, it's much later for Oz. But there's that first gateway, and there's the second gateway. So we have a mirror image over here. Mothership cores high-fiving each other in the middle of the map. Both players going for 3-gateway aggression.
I'm going to follow it back.
Oh, this is great, though, actually, for Oz. If puCK does not scout it, but Oz does scout it, but no.
He didn't get to it.
He won't be able to scout it either.
Yeah, Stalker's zoning him out. Nicely done. So,
Robo behind this. Wow, talking old school, 3-gateway Robo.
Yeah.
Wings of Liberty week 2, what up?
And there's another pylon down there that I think just got spotted.
Yeah, that's great news for Oz.
Yeah.
Oz is probably like, huh? What are you trying to be aggressive, son? I'm trying to be aggressive.
Go away.
Get out of my map. Warp gate technology about to finish up for Oz, already done for puCK.
Oh, wow.
And he has that pylon up there as well. But, you know, what can you... Okay, Oz is already expanding behind this as well. I like that. Mothership core is still floating on the north side of the map. This is really funny. Like, this, you don't see a whole lot of games, 3-gateway aggression against 3-gateway aggression, and then both players like being like, so what's going on in this game?
Yeah, it's such minor things, but it's like a silly situation for both. The Nexus has been spotted down here for puCK, and then Oz now actually has a lot of Stalkers there. We have he forces the cancellation because he doesn't have enough firepower to hold it.
I won't say good force fields, and of course, or good force field, and of course it was okay. But I would love to see him get 2 Stalkers there. I think that would be more than safe. We shouldn't forget that puCK has not scouted yet. For all that puCK knows, he's playing against the 1-gate Twilight opening. This is something that I think right now puCK is very worried about. I think this is why he's chrono boosting out this Immortal. Well, if he knew what he was playing against, he would have never cancelled that Nexus. He would have just run down and start trading.
Yeah, at least the Zealot gets a little bit of information for him, but it's a little bit too late. As there's, well, actually he gets almost full information if he can just go over the left-hand side, but the probe's going to go for the surround and deny a bit of that.
It's still alright. He gets 2 probe kills already, maybe even 3. Nah, good mic. No, he gets 3.
He came back for the fight. He was like,
the probe was like, no, I'll get you, I'll get you. Either way, this is really annoying for puCK, because puCK is contained right now, or how Le Todd would like to say, Oz has the lockdown. Which is... he does say that.
Does he?
Yeah.
Oh, Todd. There's a lot of things Todd says that's strange.
So now puCK is, I think puCK is a little worried. He's like, man, I misread it. And it was really funny because before that went on, I was about to say, it's impressive how puCK realized or reads this game so well, knows he's playing as 3-gateway as well, but he misread it for, I think, 1-gate Twilight. And now suddenly he's like, man, if this is going to be a normal game, I'm going to be pretty far behind. So we have a Warp Prism behind this, and now puCK is going to do some serious aggression. He will still expand, but he's definitely looking for some damage to be done. Did he cancel that Prism? No, he didn't. Okay.
He's still on around, scooting a boot.
Oh, do you think he might get the sentries in? Do you think he's gonna try?
Oh.
No. This is very ballsy. Fuck. This is so ballsy, and it could work. I have not seen this yet in PvP.
No.
The Mothership core is getting so close, but it hasn't seen it just yet. It's gonna see it now.
Go, quick, force field!
Force field! Oh my god, he's gonna get force fielded out of his base in a PvP.
Oh my. Uh-oh.
Yes, this is happening.
I can't believe this. Well, okay, good luck, puCK. Good luck to you.
Oh, all the Zerg players. No, force field.
Oh, okay, so he traps a few of these units. Oh, he lost the sentry almost full energy there, did also. This is a bad position. This is really... He needs to warp in some units. He needs reinforcements.
I don't see how all... Okay, Photon Overcharge will go down.
Keep him sealed down.
I don't think that's enough. As long as the force fields will be renewed at the ramp, every Zerg that has ever died to Oz, who when Oz did it against them, is laughing so hard right now. He's like,
And do you remember puCK in the round of 32? He did this against the Zerg as well. So this is great. puCK really likes doing this style. Apparently more matchups than one.
Get a taste of your own recipe. That's, I guess, what a Zerg player would say now. I cannot believe that puCK is pulling this off in a PvP. It's not over yet.
No.
But still, with so many units out of position, you would say that eventually this has to be good enough for puCK.
It's a tense situation, even for puCK here. puCK feels a little bit scared. He has to maintain this position.
He's like, man, I got really committed to this. I'm going to have to go for it. Force field will go down. One more Stalker squeezes up. Those sentries actually put out quite a bit of energy. Oz losing a lot of units. He's still up in supply, but he still has quite a few units on the bottom of that ramp.
Army supply 39 to 46 in favor of Oz technically, so he still needs to isolate all of those down on the bottom and just divide and conquer from here as he continues to warp in.
Oz has no sentry on the low ground. What would happen if, like, puCK decides to run down the ramp? Okay, now Oz gets 2 sentries as well. This is...
The amazing thing, though, is that if he gets in a dodgy spot, he could just still recall everything out.
That is true as well.
This is crazy.
Yeah, so he's not as committed. It's not like... Well, it's a pretty big commitment. He's down 6 workers as well. Okay, another force field goes down. Photon Overcharge is about to run out. There are 2 Immortals in the mix over here for puCK, though. puCK's gonna need to drop a lot of good force fields. Oh, look at those Immortals from Oz. They're doing some serious work.
Not really negating the damage from the low ground as well.
He uses a time warp. That means no recall. Oh my god, I think this is gonna backfire.
Full committal, and it's not working out. Bye-bye Immortal, bye-bye Stalkers. You retreat out with sentries, but they're not going to help you out later. Too much, at least.
Wow, so in the end, this did not work out for puCK. It looked so promising. He zoned out a lot of units from Oz, but Photon Overcharge bought so much time. I think that what puCK should have done is just almost start trading in range of Photon Overcharge immediately. Just like be like, hey, I've got my gateways over here.
Oh, Sean, we miss you too, man.
Apollo's showing us some love. I love me some Apollo love.
It's actually really weird him not being here now that I think about it. I keep thinking, oh, where's Sean? Oh, there he is.
Okay, so puCK is still being aggressive right now with a few sentries. He might be able to even pick up this Robo, but okay, he has force field over here. Technically, he can force field forever, but that is so hard to do.
What a weird game. I can't believe he just killed a Robo with sentries and zealots.
That was an awkward force field. No. Oh, unit spin through.
Okay, sentries, do what you need to do. And he kills the zealot and he gets the sentry as well.
Okay, yeah, he will lose the fight now at home as well. This is a dicey position for puCK to be in.
Yeah, dicey is the word for it. You're right. This is now
no more force fields. Photon Overcharge, no energy, I guess, right?
Bye-bye. Okay, probes off the line, trying to salvage this position, but actually he managed to get out with that Immortal and could even pick it up with the Warp Prism to save it. Is he actually going to win this fight? Is he going to hold on?
He's doing a good job, but there are still a lot of Zealots that will be able to soak up so much damage, so maybe it is Oz going to be after all. Oz so solid in PvP in general, excellent win record, and again, Oz will make it to WCS America round of 8. But he had to work for it, James. It wasn't easy.
Yeah, he did. What a PvP series we witnessed here between puCK and Oz. He was so close, but yet so far.
I feel that the more that I think about it, I think that Oz respected the. I think that puCK respected the Photon Overcharge a bit too much. Photon Overcharge is fantastic, but I feel with so many units in the natural, I think the best thing he could have done is just keep 2 sentries outside of range of Photon Overcharge in the corner there, but also outside of range of the units on the low ground. Drop a few forces and just throw as many Zealots into that main base and throw at everything. Start working on those pylons, on powders, gateways. I think, you know, the moment that you're committing to it, then you're just going to have to go for it.
And also, I mean, in our position, in Captain Hindsight's position, where we can just say, yeah, this is what you should have done, the Photon Overcharge on Habitation Station doesn't cover the full main, as you could see, because he was able to keep his army alive. The 2 gateways and robo positioning
on the north side
were relatively vulnerable to where he could have walked up and maybe started working on. And then he would have denied Immortal production and maybe it would have gone a little bit differently. But again, Captain Hindsight, we can say.
Yeah, it's really hard to do everything correctly. You're worrying about like so many things at the same time. I still think it looked really promising. I think, you know, this is the type of game where you would love to just like resume from replay, you know, use that awesome function that Blizzard gave us 6 to 9 months ago and just play it out again. What if I indeed do leave 2-3 sentries in that corner and then I just fight with the rest, I throw in. Because on that moment, because the Photon Overcharge bought so much time for 2 or even 3 Immortals to spawn in the main. Those Immortals were not there yet. It would have just been a few warped in Zealots, probes and photon overcharge and a mothership core against everything that puCK had. And of course, puCK had that warp prism, so he could have just kept warping in, yeah, I think he gave Oz too much time. You have to respect the photon overcharge, but maybe not that much.
You're right, man. I think it's very safe to say that was a good PvP series. You couldn't see fun. Rotterdam on camera, but he was like smiling throughout the entire series, so enjoying it a lot. All right, we can hear from the winner, in fact, as we now head it over to Paul.
Well, thank you, Kalaris. Unfortunately, we don't have the winner's interview. We are bereft of a Korean translator. If you live in Cologne right now and you fancy doing a bit of Korean to English translation, then head on down and we'll pay you in Red Bull. I'm joking, of course. We do need some help, though. But, unfortunately, I did ask Oz if he'd like it. His English is actually really good, and he said no, he'd prefer not to do the interview in English. So, my Korean sucking and his English being better than mine, he didn't want to do it. So, instead, I have to put up with Todd. People think I hate you. It's so funny. Interesting last map, particularly from puCK. Really kind of ballsy moves that he made. It's great to see that kind of play. We really like innovation and seeing stuff like that. But ultimately didn't work out for him. Oz, again, just having a little bit more quality in that game and has reached the round of 8 for the 3rd consecutive season.
Yeah, Oz was very patient about it. It's very easy to overreact, be like, oh my god, this is happening. You pull all probes, you get in there, and then you end up losing everything or falling behind in economy, and then you cannot recover. But Oz was very patient. He knew he had the photon overcharge available. I even thought at some point he might need to recall his army from his natural to his main, but he was like, no. Why would I need to do that? I have enough in my main.
He stuck there, and then when it actually did need to recall, he just used that time warp like about 5 seconds before, and then it's like, oh dear. I mean, it was literally, oh dear, that's not going to work.
So I guess we can take a look at the replay.
Why don't you take us through that point, because it was an interesting little bit of play.
It's like not super amazing, something we've never seen, but in this case, it was quite a surprise that puCK was going for, so he's going to drop here on top of the ramp. And he's not spotted for a very long time, so obviously his hope is that there is some units locked out from that main, and that he's going to be able to fight in there and take the win, trade very, very well. The thing is, this is revealed earlier than those units can rejoin that puCK of his army. And now if we look at what's up the ramp, there is not much for us. So that force field was used a little bit late, but puCK still trades very, very well. Now we have 3 Zealots up there against this entire army. So I'm a little bit surprised, as Roti said, that puCK didn't try to fight a little bit more. Keep in mind, he had to keep on force fielding that ramp over there. He cannot underestimate that. And now, look at those units and look at this. There is way much more units here for puCK. He could even have hallucinated, like say 2 Archons, got in there and kept on force fielding behind it. So he was maybe a little bit too shy about this, and he gave time to us to be able to catch up. That Robo was never killed. And I guess force field battles here can be smart too, because you can trade pretty well sometimes. Like say if he force fields like the Immortal plus a few units by themselves, kills them, doesn't lose anything, it's going to be good for him to try and gain some more army lead. But at this point, it wasn't that good that he could actually win from there. And you see he's very sentry heavy against somebody who's on a lot of Zealots, who has enough Immortals to deal damage. And keep in mind, puCK could not reinforce on Immortals here. He had that single one, but he doesn't have a Robo here. He cannot he doesn't have a Nidus in his War Prism to bring on new Immortals. So in the end, not enough to be able to take the win here.
Yeah, as we said, interesting bit of play, but ultimately not effective. And all the same, it's great to see a little bit of...
Not effective, just like you in ladder.
It's harsh, but it's fair. It's very fair.
Fair play.
I actually won against the Protoss yesterday, which I don't usually do.
One game out of how many?
One game out of about 63. I'm proud of myself.
Well done.
Moving swiftly on, because my laddering is not what you want to hear about right now. Oz is your first man through to the round of 8. It's appropriate too, because in Seasons 2 and Season 3 of WCS America, he was also through to the round of 8. He's improved every season as well. Round of 16 in Season 1, 7th, 8th in Season 2, and 3rd, 4th in the last season of 2013. Can he go one step forward? Well, I think it means he's won 2 this year, but Roddy's not going to agree with me, so... I don't know, he doesn't believe in the power of Protoss, obviously. But Oz is the first man through. puCK will still fight for another day. He now plays the other winner from our lower bracket game, which is our next match up. It's a very interesting match. It's between the 2 H's. It's Hart versus Hyun, and it's coming next. We'll take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll hear from our panel of experts and find out who they think will go through to face puCK in the last game of Group A. Don't forget as well this evening, ladies and gentlemen, we also have Group B, that's right. WCS America, 2 for the price of 1.